In the heart of Montana, where the wind carves stories into the plains and the earth holds the weight of every step, a towering boy stood in a reinforced pen, wild, unclaimed, and feared by all who saw him. He'd toppled barriers, sent men scrambling, and drifted from town to town like a storm no one could harness. By the end of the market day, one fate seemed sealed. This boy's next stop would be a place no one spoke of kindly. Then a weathered cowboy, broke and limping, stepped forward. He didn't balk at the boy's defiance. He didn't try to break it. Instead, he gave him a name. What followed would unravel everything the town thought it knew about wild spirits and the men who dare to trust them. Morning broke over Billings with the wind's sharp edge, carrying the scents of dust, grass, and sweat-soaked leather. The market yard sprawled like a sun-bleached quilt, iron gates smudged with fingerprints, wooden signs scrawled with lot numbers, a speaker system spitting static even when silent. Trailers creaked as they settled in the shade. Men in wide-brimmed hats leaned against rails, clutching coffee dark as tar. Their talk was clipped, grain costs, stubborn weather, fences needing repair, yet heavy with a quiet unease, as if they were all waiting for something unnamed. The morning lots sold briskly. A pair of sturdy mules with calm eyes. A chestnut mare with a colt trailing her, drawing murmurs from the crowd. A string of workhorses, reliable and plain. The auctioneer's rhythm was a steady chant. Do I hear 3? 4? Thank you. The gavel kept time. Money and halters changed hands, and buyers walked away with the quiet pride of outbidding their neighbors by a hair. Then the yard crew cleared a path and dragged a heavy gate across a pen built differently from the rest. Its bars were taller, reinforced with cross braces. The metal gleamed where something massive had scraped it raw. 2 young hands took their posts, faces tight with the look of men who'd rather be anywhere else. Lot 12. The boy stood like a mountain in a child's shape, nearly 7 feet tall, broad as a barn door, with hair falling in wild ropes across shoulders that could shove a wall down. His clothes, patched and oversized, hung like they'd given up trying to fit him. A faded scar ran along his arm, as if a blade had once tried to teach him a lesson. He didn't pace so much as own the ground beneath him, feet planted, muscles coiled. When he raised his head, his eyes, dark and unyielding, locked onto faces and held them like a challenge. He kicked the rail once, hard. The pen shook. Men stepped back without a word. Someone muttered, "Lord," and another hissed, quiet, like they were scolding a child near a cliff. A yard hand lifted a clipboard, voice catching as he read, "Boy, age unknown, likely 16. Weight, roughly 300 pounds. 3 prior guardians unable to manage. History of breaking enclosures. Incident involving injury to a handler." The boy shifted, slamming the rail again. The steel rang like a bell. "Hell of a kid," a man near the gate said, not in awe but in warning. "Hell's the word," came the reply. The nickname spread like a spark, the Wild Giant. Tanner Holt stepped to the auction block. Long-limbed, with the easy slouch of a man born to the saddle, he removed his hat, ran a hand through graying hair, and set the hat back like it was a shield. "Folks," he said, voice rough through the mic, "Lot 12. Biggest kid we've seen in this yard in years. I won't lie, he's a handful. You take him, you take all of him. Strength like that can build something in the right hands. Or break everything in the wrong ones." 3 sets of hands thought they could handle him. They couldn't. Step up knowing what you're in for. He nodded to the crew. One hand touched the gate with a boot, testing it. The boy went still, head tilting as if the sound carried a warning. 500 to start, Tanner called. Strength like that, you could build a legacy if you find the way. Silence. A man coughed. The wind scratched at the tin siding. 400, Tanner tried. Faces studied their boots. 3, he said, keeping his tone light. The boy shifted, kicking the rail again, a reminder that money wasn't the only price. 200, Tanner said, voice flat now. A woman shook her head, a slow no that meant regret. A buyer tipped his hat down, opting out. 100, Tanner said, the number landing like dust. The clerk reached for the folder marked for the last resort. The boy's ear twitched at the rustle of paper. Anybody, Tanner said, weary. Someone who knows what they're doing. It would have ended there, quick and final, but a man at the edge of the shade stepped forward, raising a hand like he was asking to speak. He wasn't striking, 30s, jeans worn thin at the knees, a canvas jacket polished at the elbows. His beard was uneven, his limp carried like an old debt. If you watched closely, you saw him shift weight off one leg, then force it back, refusing to favor weakness. His eyes were steady, not hard, the kind that checked doorways before entering. 100, he said, voice quiet but clear. Heads turned. The boy's gaze sharpened, not at the bid but at the shift in the air. Tanner squinted into the glare. Sir, you know what you're taking on? I do, the man said. Whispers rippled. He's done for. Looking to get hurt. Thinks he's got some secret. The bidder ignored them, eyes on the boy, not measuring a fight but meeting a gaze that might return it. Name? Tanner asked, not for the sale but for the story unfolding. Caleb Ward. Tanner nodded, as if the name carried weight. Caleb, I'm not trying to spook you. This kid's got a mind of his own. You sure? Caleb's jaw tightened, chewing a thought. I see something in him, he said. Not loud, not showy, just a truth that had cost him something elsewhere. Tanner rapped the gavel. Sold. Lot 12 to Caleb Ward for 100. The yard exhaled, relief mixed with curiosity. The clerk flipped the folder from discard to sale, papers rustling, a stamp thudding. Caleb signed, hand steady. Take your time, Tanner said off mic. No rush. Caleb nodded, approaching the rail slowly, hands open. The boy turned, breath heaving, dust lifting from the boards. He stomped twice, head high, daring the world to come closer. Easy, someone whispered. Caleb stood still, letting the wind move through him like it moved through the grass. The boy's eyes shifted, both locking on him, a moment so small it was everything. The boy came to Caleb's land in a rattling trailer, the driver sparing words. Sign here, he said, passing a clipboard. Alive on delivery. The boy shoved against the trailer's walls, metal groaning. Got help to get him out? The driver asked. I'll manage, Caleb said. The driver eyed the patched fences and sagging shed. They said he's hell on barriers. Mind your legs. Caleb backed the trailer to a sturdy pen he'd built from scavenged steel and deep-set posts. He dropped the ramp, letting the boy feel the open field beyond. The boy burst out, stumbling, then planting himself like a challenge. Water's there, Caleb said, pointing to a trough. Food when you're ready. The boy tested every rail, pressing until bolts sang, sniffing the air, cattle distant, a dry creek, a man alone. He didn't eat, didn't rest, just stood, claiming his ground. That night, Caleb slept lightly, waking to the boy's kicks against the pen, each strike a bell in the dark. By 2 a.m., a new sound, wood splintering, sent him outside, flashlight in hand. A post leaned, the boy standing calm, as if he'd found a flaw and noted it. Morning revealed bent braces, cracked boards. Caleb fixed what he could, telling himself the boy wasn't cruel, just himself. Twice that week the boy slipped out, once through a clever latch, once over a rail too low. Caleb tracked him, heart pounding, knowing one wrong move could end badly. Both times, the boy turned back, snorting but yielding. By week 2, Caleb moved him to a stronger pen in a quiet corner. He dug posts deep, added a second chain to the gate. He slid food through a gap, saying, "Not forever, just till we know each other." The boy glared, tossing the food, then eating with grudging hunger. On the 4th day, Dr. Lena Cruz arrived, vet bag in hand. "Tanner called," she said. "Said you bought trouble." She studied the boy from a distance. Strong as an ox. Too strong for what he's been through. He's not showing pain, but that doesn't mean it's not there. She watched him move, breathe. He's sound. The trouble's up here. She tapped her temple. Time. Consistency. Show up, don't push. Let him choose you. Word spread, stretched by gossip. Amos Reed, who'd tried to manage the boy for a month, warned Caleb. He'll break you before he trusts you. Cracked my fence, my arm, my patience. Caleb listened, said, "Thanks," and kept on. Nights, he sat on the porch, the boy's stomps punctuating the dark. He thought of the auction, the boy's eyes meeting his, the folder flipping from discard to sale. "I'm not done," he said to the night. The boy shifted, breath heavy, like an answer. Mornings became ritual. Caleb brought water and food, sat on a stump, and waited. The boy watched, wary but still. One day Caleb spoke, "I know what it's like to be trapped in anger, thinking it's all you are." The boy's head tilted, a small shift. "Your name's Rowan," Caleb said, the word landing soft. The boy didn't run or fight, just stood, both eyes on Caleb, ribs moving steady. Something in Caleb loosened. Weeks passed. The boy, Rowan, stopped kicking rails. He ate sooner, watched longer. One morning he stepped close, sniffing Caleb's hand, breath warm. Caleb held still, palm open. Rowan's shoulder brushed him, a ripple of trust. Amos drove by, saw it and muttered, "Hell's frozen over." Lena returned, noting Rowan's calm eyes, loose stance. "He's mapping you as safe," she said. "That's trust growing." A storm hit one night, tearing apart the pen's shelter. A beam pinned Caleb's leg, pain blinding. Rowan, free to run, turned back, shoving the beam until it broke. Caleb limped to a lean-to, Rowan close, shielding him from the wind. "You saved me, Rowan," Caleb said, hand on the boy's arm. The boy stood, steady, as the storm faded. By summer, Billings saw them as one. Caleb and Rowan, moving together, a cowboy and his giant, not tamed but partnered. Kids called him the gentle giant. At the county fair, Rowan stood calm as children approached, guided by Caleb's steady hand. "It's not tricks," Caleb said. "It's us talking." Workshops followed, then school visits. Rowan became a lesson in patience, in second chances. At a fundraiser, Tanner took the mic. "I said he was the wildest we'd seen. I didn't think anyone could reach him. I was wrong." The room cheered. Caleb didn't count apologies. He and Rowan kept their rhythm, morning walks, evening grazes, quiet moments where the world didn't demand proof. Caleb, once a man life had left behind, felt like himself again, the cowboy he'd been before loss and dust had reshaped him. One evening, Caleb sat on the porch, Rowan nearby, tearing at grass. The air smelled of sage and promise. Caleb thought of the auction, the storm, the boy's breath on his hand. People called it a miracle. He called it work, time, and luck that felt like grace. Rowan looked up, ambling toward him, resting a hand on Caleb's shoulder. They stood, two souls who'd stopped asking for proof, finding home in the space between.